So this is what the bracket's going to look like. It's going to tag into those two bolt holes, grommets, whatever, and I'm going to mount the ballast on this, and I'm going to mount the computer on this. I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. In the meantime, I got to weld it. I had to snake a little framing or finishing nail in behind there because it was standing on that rivet just a little. Okay, this is the paraphernalia that started off just being a paper template, and then trace it off and then a plasma cut it. But you can see each of these has a paper counterpart. This is for the ignition lock thing I did earlier. Okay, so I've got to mount this temperature sender for my vapor, which is the speedometer thing that you see up here. Now that we're all on the same page and we already know what we're talking about anyway. I didn't drain it, I just put a big bucket underneath of it. So I took that and I marked it with the blue pen so that you know what to cut off. I cut the blue away. I mount this in a straight section where there's plenty of room, and this for here and that for that. So even though I know I'm not using the right words, I think you get the idea. So we go clip, and things are about to get messy up in here. Ooh, that's got more pressure than you expect. I'll salvage some of that, wear the rest of it. They got me pretty good. Oh, what was I thinking? So anyway, there's cut 1. There's cut 2. Sound like a director. Wow, that made a mess. That was not as clean as I had it envisioned in my head. Had a lot more pressure behind it than expected. But nonetheless, onward and upward. We're going to grab some hose clamps that came with the kit. We'll throw those on. Just kind of guesstimate where you want to be reaching a screwdriver in the future. I'm guessing I want to do it through here, so I'm going to put them facing from the back side. Have that one hang out there. Throw our sender in. Get these in place and tighten them down with the screwdriver that I don't have. There it is. It looks pretty professional. And they give you some pretty high grade clamps. Norma is the brand. Never heard of Norma, but I can tell and feel and see that they are awesome. It's Norma 1627. 16-27. Boy, the coolant that comes in these 450Xs kind of stinks. I guess antifreeze should. Other stuff smells sweet and dogs drink it, so if you make it stink, maybe you'll have less dead animals inadvertently. PETA's gotta like that. Well, there it is, and then you just I routed my wire up around here, and then I'm gonna secure it a little better here in a minute. But it goes up around the front. Yeah, and then to the little clip that you have right there. I'm pretty sure I didn't aim that very well, so we'll backtrack. Down and around, voila. So you can see you got brassy color bolts here, 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 and here, and this one's silver. That's the magnetic bolt that I've installed in the brake caliper. I've aligned this the way it says to do in the instructions, and I'm currently drilling a hole for the set screw that's going to hold it in place. And then once the hole's drilled, and I think I'm just about where I need to be, you use a supplied self-tapping screw and you screw it on there. I'll show you what I mean. Now, aluminum creates a lot of shiny shavings. Okay, so the way this is going to go is like that, and then you use the screw they provide. Looks like I did a good job. So anyway, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? I'm sorry. So this is the magnetic sensor, and the thing's going to go by just at the bottom of it, in the bottom region here. It's going to go past it and hopefully not hit. If it hits, I'll be sorely disappointed. So here's the screw that it comes with. It's just this little guy, and hopefully that works well, and hopefully it grabs. Hopefully it's got enough thread to it. Seems to. So for that to work, it's got to go at least that deep. Maybe I'll take a nail or something, see how deep I am, and see if I can get that close to right. So I take this, I put it in place, stick a nail through it, max it out, pinch down on my fingernails. So I've got this much hole depth, and then I compare that with the screw I'm going to be using. And there's just a little room left over for shaving, so I'm going to quit drilling. So I've got my self-tapping screw in place. I was debating about just taking the thing and doing a dry run, and then I thought, well, it's going to grab the best if I just go for it and leave it in. And that's what I did. Get her done. So that's the bracket play. I'm like, man, it feels like it's wiggling, but these slide bolts, they wiggle a little bit. So I've taken a screwdriver, put it in the brake pads, and twisted it just a little so it'll go back on there. And sure enough, it does. Until I listen to Arlo Guthrie. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant, excepting Alice. He repeats everything. He said to go do this, that's what we did. Says everything twice pretty much. I think it's funny. It's kind of like when you read instructions or legalese or the Bible. It says things over and over again. They made a spoof on that on Monty Python, the Holy Grail, about the holy hand grenade when they're going against the rabbit at the cave near the end of the movie. Thou shalt count to 3, 2 being too little and 4 being too many. And thus shalt thou count to 3. So, there we go. Repetition is funny sometimes. Ha ha ha. So I've got it routed to where it's on the tire side, or underside is what I think I'm going to do. Zip tie it, or maybe electrical tape it in spots, like wrap around here, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to zip tie it. Anyway, that's how it should look, and by the looks of it, I think our magnetic sensor is going to clear. If I rock it back onto the kickstand, yeah, we'll give it a test. So it's clearing just barely underneath of it. I think it made contact. Maybe if I pump up the front brake and get that caliper right in the spot where it should be. There, it's getting hard. Alright, so let's try that again. Now it won't make contact. This barely clears it. And that's what we like. Because if you barely clear it, that's just right. So we're zip tying it now is what we're doing. I'm trying to land it so that everything gets happy. You know, like I want it to not get in the wear. I want the brake line that's heavier duty. It's got a heavy duty cord on it, but it could still kink, you know, being realistic here. I know that these are going to be moving a lot, and I don't want it to be hitting zip ties, so I might use electrical tape for that, but I'm going to get it started off right. I'm going to have it go to a good kindergarten and then go from there, you know. Fun German word. Kindergarten. Garden of children. Alright. So I'm going to hit it at the top here, and I think I'll hit it with electrical tape in the middle, because that will be better, you know, feeding through this than it will be for the zip ties getting slammed and binding. Don't want any binding and jarring. It's not a book. It's not fruit preserves. English is retarded. There's so many words that have more than one meaning. couple more up at the top. Want to see? Take you with me. You see, I've got my computer mounted. Maybe you can see, I don't know. Use your imagination, you can see anything. So I want the speedometer to go behind it. I don't want it to block the computer. It's so pretty, I'm just going to stare at it while I ride. I hope I don't crash into things while I'm doing that, but it'll probably happen. I'll just be saying under my breath, you know, or in my mind, vapor. Spelled all European and fancy like. So nice. I'll just let that hang out like that. I don't know. Seems like it should work. I just don't want it to bind and get up in the tire, because the tire will be recessive at the same rate as the cables or hoses. Hose and cable, hose and wire. Sounds like a German guy looking for his shorts. Where is my Lederhosen? Hosenwire. Oh, that's pretty. You want an aerial view? I'll make a helicopter noise. That looks good. So that's the tachometer, speedometer. And you got your, oh, I'm overheating light, and I've got my shift, dang it, light. You're gonna blow your motor. And I got my bracket for my, I can never remember the name of that silly thing. Ballast resistor, or just ballast. So it's gonna sit on there like a shelf. And then that'll all go like that. It's got little pilot holes in it for where the screws go. Oh, I'm tired of working on this thing. I want to go ride it, dang it. So next thing I got to do, you got one wire for your speedometer, and that's the one that we just did. And I'll camouflage that with the rest of these. And then we've got more wires, of course. We've got one for the power to supply electricity for the backlight. We've got one for the tach, and then I already did the one for the temperature sensor. So I'm getting really close. I'm about done with the gosh dang freaking thing. The thing that's really bugging me now is that this is ground, and that's fine and great, and this is supposed to be your low beam power wire and your high beam wire. Nonsense. I have no power going to these wires, doesn't matter what I do. So I have this other plug that I got rid of up in here that I might have to just go to for my headlight and just run a normal headlight and then run an auxiliary power to it. I did get my key switch working. You turn that on and listen to my horn, it's a siren. And if you're here, you could hear that in your brain. It's really loud. My neighbors are going to hate that, but yeah, that's what you get. Oh, you want to see the signals in action? Watch this. Highfalutin, huh? Look at that. And these ones, the very edge stays on as a little arrow to the far left, as if to say, yeah, I'm going this way. And then my brake lights, they work pretty good. I got my LED license plate light. I mean, we're getting so legit. So here's a brake light, it's going to blind you. It's really bright. And I got the one working for the handbrake too. You can see that, I'm operating the handbrake. It's pretty exciting. It lights up the fender too, that's kind of fun, because it's red. Honda! So for the tachometer wire, I ran it with the throttle cable, not taping the cables together of course, but just running it alongside one lengthwise, and it goes all the way down to the point where it starts to come through the frame, and at that point it splits, and the black wire, as you can see, tags into the frame with the self-tapping screw, and the red wire just goes right up under the boot of the plug. I tried running it through the hole in the plug and then putting the spade on, no good. Just cuts it right off and comes loose. But if you put it up into the spade and then put the spade on, then it works. So here's the bike, I'll show you the lights. And that's the tail light, brake light, rear brake light. This lights up when you start the bike up. So that kicks on. You've got your turn signals, left, right, and show you the front and the speedometer. Speedometer on this thing's really cool. It's got a license plate light too. Just threw a plate on there for effect. But you've got your speedometer, and then that's also your tachometer. So the whole thing's just pretty cool. I really like it. And as far as the headlight goes, the headlight comes on with the, I did away with the HID just because it was getting too much weight and too crowded back behind the plate thing. But let me show you the front lighting. Let's do about like that, yeah. So for the front light, the headlight comes on when you start it. And you turn the switch on. That's low beam, high beam, low beam, high beam. And I got it right by accident, but it's just basically a 2-filament bulb. And I didn't know which way was up or down. I just connected it and hoped for the best, and I got it right. The beam goes high and low. There's plenty of headlight there. Oh, I didn't show you the signals. For signals, there's the right signal, left signal. Then I got my mirror here, which can tuck away. No mirror! Ooh, I need a mirror. So anyway, that's that. And I'm pretty excited about it. Some of the fun features of the computer include the temperature. Right now here in the shop, it is 88 degrees Fahrenheit, it says. See where it says air and then 88F. And you can go through all the different modes. It shows the distance you've traveled. I haven't traveled any. So this is the engine temperature or water temperature. This is the total time. It's been 60 hours since I began this project. The maximum rate was 21.5 miles an hour. That can't be right. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's pretty cool. It's got all kinds of features on it that I don't know what they are yet. And then these little lights, one of them's for if you overheat and the other one's a shift light. And you can program that and get that all set up just the way you want. Anyway, there's your controls. You can have your headlight be off and conserve your battery if you wanted to. Low beam or high beam, turn signals. Didn't show you the horn. That's the horn. The horn weighs nothing. The bike actually weighs less now than when I got it. You know, even with the brackets and everything, getting rid of that big clunky trip odometer, cut down a bunch of weight, and then getting rid of the horn, like the big metal horn, and going with the piezo siren, that helped get the weight down a lot too. So, pretty exciting. It's all ready to rock. We'll take it out and go for a cruise. Dang near forgot to show you the key. See, here's my little key thing. Didn't that turn out cool? So that's off, that's on. That turned out pretty good, I think. There's how it looks in the dark. That whole back fender lights up. It's pretty fun. Anyway, there's that, and show you the headlight pattern. I really lucked out just going with this. I'm actually pretty happy about it. Normally it just runs both filaments at the same time, but here's the low beams. Here's the high beams. Low, high. That's legit. Not bad for accidental. Nailed it. Or you can turn the headlight off. So I don't have a switch to turn the tail lights off. Oh wait, yeah I do, except for the one. I just disconnect that. Anyway, it's awesome. I am happy. Then will you be happy? Yeah, I'm happy. Digging it.